June. It's June 2020. It is June 2020. No, doesn't sound right. Well, it's official. We are heading on into June, folks, which means we are approaching the halfway point of 2020. A terrifying fact to me, because honestly, I forget what I even did in April and May. I chuckle there, but genuinely don't know. It's all a blur. So, doing well. Disappointment over the speed of time aside, I am really excited to be here for June's Plan with me. Before I get into it though, I do want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. For those of you who don't know, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform for building beautiful websites, online stores, and more. I'll be talking more about Squarespace and my own site a little bit later on in today's video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I encourage you to grab some stationery goodies, get comfy with a beverage, and let's get planning. I'm starting off with my month at a glance spread, and I'm gluing in some textured white paper that I ordered online a few weeks ago. I was feeling this itch for some new paper to play with, so you'll see me using some new sheets throughout today's video. This white one has a real lacy look to it that I just think is so gorgeous and fits so well with the season of the year, and I love how it ended up turning out being put in the corners of the spread. Part of my paper order included getting a 50-page package of craft paper. I've been using craft paper a decent amount throughout the last few months, but now that I have so much access to it, I do fear that my life is going to be filled with craft paper. The thing I like the most about this kind of paper is the neutral brown color really doesn't limit you in terms of color choices that you use in other areas of your journal, and the fact that I can write on top of it with both a black or a white pen is a real added bonus. I always get lots of questions about the white pen that I use. This is the Sakura Jelly Roll white pen in size 08. I really love this pen, and I think it works best when you use it with a light touch. I will have it linked below along with links to all of the things you see me use in today's video. For the second month in a row, I opted for a mini calendar setup for my month at a glance. I found the mini calendar to work out really well in May, so I did it again for June. I also left enough room below the calendar to be able to highlight main events, meetings, deadlines, whatever it is that I have throughout the month. I really like that I ended up using a white pen versus a black pen for this calendar because it makes the spread look so clean, and I think it complements the floral pattern drop shadow I pasted behind the craft paper. I ended up somehow managing to add a whole row that I didn't need, but I just added some diagonal lines and I was able to make it look sort of intentional. And honestly, if I can transform mistakes into a sort of intentional situation, then I count that as a huge win. On the right page, I created 4 habit trackers with 30 slots each to represent each day in June. In June, I will be tracking whether or not I'm getting enough water, sleep, outdoor time, and reading sessions each day. May for me felt like it came and went with a blink, so I didn't spend as much time taking care of myself as I should and I know I need to be, and it's resulting me going into June kind of feeling a bit sluggish, so staying on top of these habits is more important than ever right now. As I was wrapping up with the habit trackers, I realized that I did not like the blank space that was happening on the bottom right page. So I cut out a rectangle from the floral paper that you see on the first page. That's more of the drop shadow, just to kind of, give that page a little something interesting and also to tie the two spreads together. I also cut out a little craft paper square too to paste in there. And I think those two together just kind of finish things off really nicely. We are halfway through the year, I felt like it was time to get some work plans put on paper for the next couple of months. I typically like to spend a day each month creating really detailed content plans about what I'm going to be creating for my different socials, but I didn't really do that in May, so I'm definitely due for one of these days as soon as possible. This spread is kind of the start of that process. At the top, I'm writing down some video ideas I have for the next few weeks. Below that, I pasted in a craft envelope and decided to designate this as a spot to write down some blog post ideas. I cut out a square of this beautiful transparent flowery paper that looks stunning against the brown paper, so I think it made the perfect space for writing down some blog post ideas. Speaking of squares and spaces, see what I'm doing here? As you guys know, I recently launched CaitlinDeSilva.com using Squarespace, and I love that I now have a little corner of the web to blog about different topics and share pieces of content that I'm proud of. I love writing in my journal, but it's just so therapeutic to write things I can put out into the world and share with all of you. Using Squarespace made the process of creating an aesthetically pleasing site easier than I ever thought possible, so if you've ever considered starting a blog or creating an online portfolio for your own work, be sure to visit squarespace.com for a free trial. You can also use the URL squarespace.com/Caitlin's Corner to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. All the links will be in the description box below. Right now, I post on my blog about once a week, and I always update the site with links to the new videos when they go live, so it's a great place to go to stay up to date with all of the latest content. This leaf doodle has become another staple in my journal because whenever I see a gap of space, I feel compelled to fill it with something, and this leaf doodle is one that I can always rely on to look good. So alas, I can't stop and won't stop drawing it on every other spread. Do any of you have a go-to doodle? I'm kind of curious about that because stars are another one for me that I have had to purposely stop myself from putting everywhere, because if I did let myself, all of my spreads would just look like constellations every month. On the right page, I pasted in some more craft paper, outlined 2 boxes at the bottom of the page, and to the left of the craft paper is a spot I designated for keeping a running list of some things I need to update. When you're working for yourself, by yourself, the main focus is usually on the tasks that need to happen ASAP. So there are things that end up not getting the attention that they need, and that's something I want to be more mindful of this summer, is making time for the things I'm always making note of in the back of my head that I need to get to. Things like updating my YouTube banner and writing an updated About Me blurb. I could probably fill out an entire page of little things like that I need to update or change, but this list in itself will keep me busy. It does feel really good though to get some of them down on paper because, as I mentioned before on this channel, and is probably obvious by the fact that I am a planner, getting things down on paper is a really helpful way for me to gain peace in my brain. If my brain feels overloaded with information to keep track of, things start to get wild quickly. And in the bottom 2 boxes, I just wrote out some more to-dos that I wanted to highlight as priorities. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm going into June not quite feeling like my best self, so that is the ultimate cue that I need a little bit of a self-care reset. I started off by pasting a title for the spread on the top left page and outlined 4 boxes that would end up being areas for me to expand on some self-care categories I want to be focusing on. The 4 I used in this spread are planning, digital detox, moving my body, and inspiring reads. Although I have been reading a lot, I haven't been feeling the urge to read a lot of nonfiction books, and I think those are the books I probably need to be reading a lot more right now because historically I learn a lot from them and I'm super inspired by them, and that's kind of the energy that I want in my life right now. There are 2 books on my reading list. One is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, and 2 is Atomic Habits. I've been hearing such incredible things about both, so I really want to try and make an effort to get these read sometime soon. I also have not been moving my body as much as I should, so I think it'd be good to challenge myself to like something small like 7 days in a row of HIIT workouts just to help me get back into the swing of things. The quote at the top of the page is one that I found online, and it says, "You are worth the quiet moment. You are worth the deeper breath. You are worth the time it takes to slow down, be still, and rest." It's a quote by Morgan Harper Nichols, and I just think it expresses a lot of the things that I need to be reminded of right now. If you follow me on Instagram, you may recognize this weekly spread I'm putting together because it's quite similar to a Planner Monday post that I did. Planner Monday, for those of you who don't know, is something I do on my Instagram page each week, every Monday. Sometimes I share a new spread, sometimes I talk stationery. So if you want to be accessing that content, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram at CaitlinMarieDeSilva. used my white jelly roll pen once again to write out the days of the week. To keep things fun, I switched up the style of the writing for each day of the week, and I left a rectangle open for any additional notes. At the bottom of the page, I used a gel pen from Muji to create some line art that I think ended up filling the space beautifully. It wasn't time consuming either, so if you're looking for simple ways to add interest to your spread, this is a really great option. Of course, the drop shadow lover and me could not let this page go without some black drop shadows. I love using my Micron pen in size 08 for black drop shadows because it delivers a really pigmented, bold black line. And I think adding this drop shadow just kind of allowed the craft paper to stand out a little bit more and also tied it nicely in with those black lines at the bottom of the page. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Like whenever I do one of these plan with me videos, there's like one or two spreads that really stand out to me. And this month, that spread is definitely the work focused ones. I love all the textures going on with it, and I just feel like visually it's a really balanced spread too. It gives me all the happy feels. It really hits me sometimes. I get all giddy on here in front of thousands of people about stationery, but then I remember you also get excited about stationery, so it's fine. Once again, a big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out that link in the description box below, because if you click it, you can get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Let me know in the comment section down below any self-care activity that you are doing in June, and or any nonfiction book recommendations, because I'm always on the hunt for those. And of course, if you ever have video requests or certain content that you want to see from me, you can let me know in the comment section of my videos. You can also reach out to me on any of my social network sites, which I have links to in the description box. Like this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. I'm always trying to reply to comments whenever I have a spare moment, but I make a point of being in the comment section for the first couple hours that a video is live. So if you comment early on, there's a good chance that I will be able to get back to you. I will see you all very soon with a new video, and until then, bye everyone. You can't tell right now, but I'm literally balancing myself on one foot. I do not know why I'm not just standing normally, but for some reason, that feels like the move. All this time at home is really just doing something to me.
I sat down by the ocean. It's that tears that I feel fill up with emotions. Could I taste them for